Hey everyone, it's Dr. Russell, and this week we're going to talk about some tips for sleep, but we're going to also talk about it in the next videos as well. So I've touched on sleep a little bit here and there in the past, but I've never done a full series about it. And sleep is a very common issue. It affects about 1 in 3 Americans. So, a huge problem. And if you haven't gotten a good night's sleep or gone several months or years without a good night's sleep, you know how big of a toll that can take on you. It can affect not only your energy, but your ability to focus, your mood, and other health conditions. So, sleep is very foundational and important to overall health. And sleep tends to get disrupted if we do have hormone imbalances or perimenopause. So it's a very common issue I see with my patients a lot. So for this video today, I want to talk about 3 supplements that I commonly use for sleep. And then we're going to talk about in other videos, nutrition tips and lifestyle tips and herbs and great things like that. So let's start with supplements because usually that's the easiest way to go for some people. But obviously, foundational stuff is just as important, but there's a couple things that I found that work well for most people to help with sleep. So the first one, which I'm sure you're not surprised to hear about, is melatonin. And melatonin is the natural hormone we make when our bodies are going to sleep. So when it gets dark out, our body's going to start making melatonin, and that should be elevated in the evening to help us sleep. There's things that can affect melatonin production, which we're not going to get into today so much, but you can take melatonin on its own. And the number one question I get about melatonin is it habit forming? Is it going to stop my brain from making melatonin on its own? And the research has shown that it doesn't, so it's okay and safe to take long term. And melatonin, in fact, is a really powerful antioxidant, so it has other benefits to it besides just helping you fall asleep. Now, the one thing with melatonin there's a couple different kinds. So there's just an immediate release. So if you have issues falling asleep, that might be the better way to go. But if you have issues staying asleep, the sustained or extended release might be a better option. And usually starting low is a good way to go and gradually increasing over time. But you can take 20 milligrams or so safely without any side effects. It just really start low and you work your way up if you need to. If you took too much, you usually feel groggy in the morning. If you do have some sleep conditions like sleep apnea or other, are taking medications or things like that, I would definitely talk to your doctor or your naturopathic doctor before starting something like that. But melatonin, very simple, very easy way to go. And a Band-Aid to just kind of get you some more restful sleep in the meantime. So that's my first one, melatonin. Second one is actually magnesium. So magnesium is actually needed to make melatonin and to make the active form of melatonin. So maybe your melatonin production is not as high because you're deficient in magnesium. And magnesium is thought to be the number 1 deficiency in the US, so very possible cause of that. But magnesium also helps just calm everything down. It's a good muscle relaxant. So a lot of patients like to take it before bed. I usually recommend the glycinate form of magnesium. It has less GI side effects. It's a little more easier on the stomach. So you could start again small and go up to 600, 800 milligrams at night if you really needed to. So kind of work your way up. So magnesium is another great one. And then my third and last but not least is what I've talked about before for other things, and that's inositol. So inositol I've talked about with anxiety, so it just helps to calm the brain down, but that might be useful for sleep. So if you feel like your brain doesn't shut off and you get stuck on these thoughts and it doesn't calm down, then you could try inositol. It usually comes as a powder, so you would just same thing, start low and kind of work your way up. The one thing with inositol I have seen, not for everybody, but it can sometimes cause some looser stools or bloating. So, definitely want to be careful on that. But it's a really, really, really calming vitamin that just helps calm everything down. It also is beneficial for the thyroid and insulin resistance and kind of keeping insulin down. So some added benefits for inositol if you need that. So those are my 3 supplements for improving your sleep. So we have melatonin. Again, we've got extended versus immediate release, depending on what kind of sleep issue you have. magnesium, and then inositol is another good option. So hopefully that was helpful. Next week we'll talk about some nutrition tips to help with sleep, and then we'll go into other things like lifestyle and herbs and all that good stuff. So I hope you have a great week, and I will see you in a week for the next video.